Did it really matter? It didn't contribute to any success for the team. So, so that's why I said with Myles Garrett, with him doing this, is great individually, but it's not knocking it, but it's like, dang, because your team, what they surrounding you with is terrible. His effort is being wasted. Like now you're looking at the Browns to see if he gonna break the record. You're watching for that, and people are still watching because they want to see what Shador does. But they aren't watching the Browns because they're gonna win.
They end up watching him break the record by default because you're watching Shador. When we start doing more hit refresh in the off season. You know what I'm saying? So it's recording now, but we could just be talking while I check the steam.
Yeah.
The gangster lean. Check the scene.
I would ask how your week been, but after what happened Sunday, I don't think you're feeling too good.
My week been kind of weak, but the good thing about my week is you got to stay positive because the Canes keeping my football season alive right now. So as long as I got that to focus on, I might be all right. So with that being said, I want to welcome.
He had to get pretty right quick.
Makeup. Hold on. I got to make an adjustment. Bam. Okay. Makeup. Now, I want to welcome everyone to yet another live edition, Tuesday, December 16th, 10:07. I hope everyone is having a wonderful holiday shopping season because I don't want to say I'm glad I'm here, but at the same time, like I left this post, I believe that I guess I'm just going to give my demographic and give my whereabouts. The Atlanta traffic has thousands of party promoters that drive in traffic just to drive. And I believe what they do is they sit in traffic to make it seem like Atlanta has a lot of traffic. Like they do the club, how they leave the line real thick. Because it just doesn't make any sense attempting to drive in this Atlanta traffic around 3:30. It gets crazy.
Yeah, if you're not on your way home or to work, hey, just sit it out for a couple of hours.
Just sit it out for a couple of hours because it is crazy it's crazy what we have to deal with this traffic. But as I was stating, I want to welcome everyone to another edition of the No Jazz Show. I am your host, KD, and I got my partner with me, Tank. Tell the people what's up, Tank, man. Just go ahead and tell the people what's up. We getting this thing going.
What's up, everybody?
We getting this thing going.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? How's y'all week going?
I be having the cheers too loud for my boy. Now, what were you saying?
Hey, how's everybody's week going? I hope y'all enjoying yourselves. Hope y'all getting ready. Hopefully, everybody's having a short week starting next week. Get ready for that. But we got some stuff we're going to go over before we get into that.
Yeah, we're going to go over a whole lot of stuff. But before we begin and go over that stuff, I want to let everyone know that you can find us live on your YouTube channel that you have subscribed to. And shout out, hold on right quick. Shout out to our new subscribers that we gained this week as this channel attempts to grow in our second season.
Second season.
This is our second season, and you can find us on NOJASSSHOW on YouTube, and it's also live on Twitch at the No Jazz Show. NOJA. Matter of fact, let me stop all that. NOJASSSHOW. You know, see that live on the bottom of your screen, and also the No Jazz Show on Instagram, and also on X at No Jazz Show, as well as our friends over at TikTok on NOJASS of the same name, SHOW No Jazz Show. And always before we begin, we want to thank the people that pay the bills around here, attempt to pay the bills that we try to prosper and grow further. Light Snack, LYTESNACK, for all of your food needs and food deliveries, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Always open, and make sure when you order that breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you order from Magic City Wings. And don't forget their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. And also, as the holiday season approaches, I want everyone to know that you can find all of your lingerie and nightwear needs for your ladies at Quick Visits, QUIKVISITS.com. And again, even though we don't have no bottom special for them, if you get her an outfit and her hair is not done, make sure you order from Virgin Brazilian Hair for all of your hair care needs. You know, I think we're gonna have Tank model a couple of those designs, and he's gonna switch it up a little bit for everyone. You know what I'm saying? What you about to say, Tank?
I'm quite sure that we probably the only sports show that's sponsored by and tell them about hair. Put me in the mind of Soul Train where he talked about get your afro sheen.
Get your afro.
We got hair.
All your food delivery needs. Make sure you go to Light Snack. That's LYTE snack.com. And make sure for all of your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City Wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. I'm here to tell you, man, food, lingerie, and hair care products for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? 2 out of 3, actually 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 4 involve the ladies. So, you know, for all of our lady or female viewers, how is it? Females, women? Like what's the politically correct term?
Babes, broads, chicks.
Into sports babes. You know, any of you who may know, you know, dames, you know, any of you that may know how to run a triangle offense or know how to do play action. You know, and you're one of our female viewers, definitely, you know, we cater to you in our sports programming, and we do not have any intent on leaving you out of the things that we do around here as far as sports is concerned. You know, chime in and make sure you like, subscribe, share, and do all that you can do to support our show, because we definitely appreciate all of our viewers and visitors that come in. Now, we are going to get this thing started, this NFL week that ended last night with the Miami Dolphins looking as if, this is before the game, looking as if they were real once again. And they met the Pittsburgh Steelers, for whom I found out something just today, Tank. And you may like to chime in on this because I don't know if you knew this, but anytime the Pittsburgh Steelers play on Monday night, I think they're undefeated.
23 straight home wins on Monday.
23 play at home on Monday night and wear the color wave. So it really wasn't looking good for Miami to begin with as far as that game is concerned. And since we're on the Pittsburgh Steelers, why not engage in some conversation about my right-hand man's favorite team? You know, he seems to be going back inside of his fan base because, a lot of you who haven't reviewed the show, you can go back and look at some of our previous episodes. He was seeming like Minnesota Vikings, and we're going to mention those, and Baltimore Ravens fan, because he was draped in a whole lot of purple the past few weeks. Don't think I forgot.
That was because I hadn't changed shirts from work.
You hadn't changed shirts from work? You didn't do that on purpose?
No.
I hear you.
No.
I hear you.
Matter of fact, I had on a purple shirt today, and I had to make sure I changed before I came on.
Well, purple is the color of royalty, and just for all of our listeners out there, I just kind of want to let you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers, that we're back on that, did give the Miami Dolphins a royal ass whooping.
Made sushi out of them.
Made sushi out of those sardines, man. Tell me how you felt about that game, Tank.
I thought it was a well-executed game plan on the offensive and defensive side. I like the fact that MVS and Thielen were involved, and Arthur Smith, I gave him a game ball for his game plan.
Really?
And yes, because he actually came out and ran a pro-style offense for a change. It didn't look like some 5- and 6-year-olds. We got the running game going. Said before I made a post, I said we need 250 yards passing. We ended up with 202, but we had 2 touchdowns. I said 2 touchdowns through the air, and I also said we need at least 125 yards rushing on the ground, be it one back or by committee, and 2 touchdowns. And we got 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 through the air, 135 yards rushing, 202 passing, and Aaron Rodgers with his second highest completion percentage in a game in his career. We needed, and I thought this was the case, but you can't really prove it until until there's a change made. I thought that maybe Smith was running that crap that he was calling offense because we only had one wide receiver, and that was DK. The rest of those guys are Jags, just a guy.
Who did pretty well.
Yeah.
DK showed up.
He showed up on MVS. He caught one pass for a touchdown, and Adam Thielen also caught a pass. The fact that those guys can run routes, know how to get open, and will catch the ball gives us another threat outside of DK, so you can't say, hey, cover DK and don't worry about the other guys because they ain't going to catch you no way. Kendall Gainwell, he looked good last night overall. I was impressed with what he was doing. I like what he did. The defense, I love what the defense did. The game was not as close as the score ended up being in the fourth quarter because the fourth quarter was what we always call garbage yards and empty calories because they had negative 20 yards of offense in this third quarter. Fourth quarter, they were in catch-up mode, but they weren't really even in catch-up mode because you saw they didn't speed, they didn't go to hurry up or anything when they needed to. They waited to the final 2 minutes to decide, hey, why don't we start calling some timeouts? Why don't we try to move the ball? They were eating up clock like they had the lead. Talking about the Dolphins. The defense made plays. We had interception. We had 7 tackles for loss. We had 4 or 5 sacks. And a little interesting tidbit, and I would say I'm 99.9% sure because I didn't have a chance to check it. But if I'm wrong, they would have said something last night. I believe last night was the first time in NFL history that you had 2 brothers. One scores a touchdown on offense, and the other brother has a sack. Connor Hayward scored a touchdown, and then mine going blank. Cam Hayward also he had a sack.
And the father was in the league too, right?
Yeah, Ironhead. Yeah,
Ironhead. Yeah, Craig. Yeah.
Yeah. So I call those 2. I called them Bloodline, and I also called Joey Porter Jr., who I'm pleased to say didn't have 5, 6, 7, 8 pass interference calls against him like he normally
Another
does.
Bloodline.
Yeah. So
y'all like to do that in Pittsburgh, huh?
Yeah. Hey, remember we did it with Watt. We had TJ and we had Derek Watt, his younger brother. Derek. So yeah, hey, we all about family in the bird. As long as you can play.
Family in the bird.
Yeah, but I think the coaching, I gave them an A. I gave an A for the coaching on the defensive side, an A for the coaching on the offensive side. I gave the overall performance for both sides an A, and the defense looked like the highest paid defense in the league because we hadn't seen that in its entirety this entire season. They played well last week and won, But this time it was a balanced and complementary game. The offense did its job, three straight scoring drives in the third quarter to put them away, and we didn't let them back in the game. And Jalen Ramsey is looking good back there at safety. He even got in and got him a sack. So I think it's an excellent move moving him to safety and letting these other guys come up. And Asante Samuel Jr. came up with a big interception as well. Another bloodline player because of his father.
Right.
Asante. Yeah.
Asante.
So,
right.
Yeah. So
that might have to be a topic.
Yeah. And I was glad that they picked him up a couple of weeks ago. And I said, let's kick the tires on him and see what he's got, because he was a very good corner, a top 10 corner prior to his injuries. And I said, hey, let's go ahead, kick the tires on him and see. You can sign him for cheap. And if he works out, we go ahead and sign him long term. So I think our secondary is set now. And overall, I was pleased with the overall effort. Everybody chipped in. Everybody did their job. Aaron Rodgers, once again, looked like he turned the clock back about 5 years, and he was slinging it. He was going deep when it was there. He also he can reel the ball quickly, but he did go deep. You have to go deep from time to time just to get guys to back up out of the box. So overall, I'm very pleased with what I saw, and I think that we're going to be the ones that make sure the Ravens don't make it to the playoffs, because there's no reason for them to have a letdown over the next 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Good to go. So now, instead of going over all the scores, let's just get with the nitty gritty, because it's December, baby. It's time to get to it. So I'm going to begin by, I guess we can discuss how the games were, but if you have some input on that. But right now, the current NFL playoff picture is what we're about to discuss, and I'm going with the AFC first. And the current number one seed who will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs right now is the Denver Broncos.
Who'd have thunk it?
I would have. I'm trying to go back to my preseason pick, because I feel like I said something in regards to Denver not allowing the Colorado Buffaloes to upstage them, and they were going to do better. Now, number one seed, that defense playing the way it has been. Bo Nix looking like he can actually represent in this wide open AFC field, as far as the old regime of quarterbacks seemingly opening the door for this new regime of AFC quarterbacks to get an opportunity to kick in that door and do something this year, now that they have an opportunity where King Mahomes and the Knights, Lamar Jackson, don't seem, well, I know one is out.
Right. One is out. Chiefs are gone.
Chiefs are gone. We're going to discuss that. Lamar is looking kind of bleak. The old man in the gate with the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, still has him in, because moving down, the Patriots is another kind of who would have thunk it, holding on to that second seed with a record of 11-3.
Yeah, I didn't see them having a record this good. I didn't know before the season. We both knew that Vrabel was a good coach and that he would get things going, but to get it cooking this soon and made to get cooking like that, he's a University of North Carolina quarterback. That alone kept me from believing that he was going to be anything, because they haven't had one. Trubisky doesn't count because he didn't do a damn thing. So, I mean, that's just not somewhere you go to get quarterbacks. But he's proving himself to be one, that next wave, as you said.
Drake May. As I always do, God hope I'm here. I give him 3 years. Once they get that film on them, I just kind of want to see if they can remain consistent. I won't say that there is an opportunity or isn't an opportunity for them to Buffalo their way, Kansas City doing what they did, these past 7 seasons is a stretch. But right now, both them and the Broncos are definitely looking like they will be contending as the years progress. Now, another surprise, shout out to all my people and all the viewers in Jayville. I know they are happy. Trevor Lawrence is looking like we always wanted Trevor Lawrence to look. That defense is not suspect at all. The quiet assassins in Jacksonville are handling their business in the third seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question about Jacksonville, and because he wasn't making a huge impact anyway, and that's not any shade on him, but that's just what it was. Do you think that maybe they've rallied the troops a little more because they lost Hunter, and all the focus isn't on Hunter now to what's he gonna do on offense, what's he gonna do on defense. Now everybody's getting a little shine. Now everybody is stepping up. We're seeing that their team is not just okay. What's Lawrence gonna do, and is Travis gonna do something spectacular? Because we're seeing now that they've got a head coach who knows what he's doing, and those guys are believing that they're coming together. They're forming into a true team now. And I mean, they walked down the Colts. Colts were way out there, and they walked them down.
Consistently walk them down.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with that statement as far as, and I don't want to use the word distraction, but it might have been a common case of attempting to find wrinkles, in the offense for Travis, where he
Yeah,
can be
they
utilized more.
justify what they did to get him. Yeah.
Yeah, to justify what they did to get him, and then when you have that unfortunate loss for the season of him, you just okay. Now we can concentrate on these guys, and it seems to be working well for them. If that is the case. So I won't disagree with the fact that it is some kind of coming together of the minds. Let's fix this offense, because it's not like he was an integral part of the offense, but a lot of talent might have been forgotten attempting to make him an integral part of the offense due to the fact of what he was coming in with, especially with that high pick. You want to be able to utilize that, so that is definitely something to think about. Now, moving right along to your Steelers, who are currently holding down that fourth seed, and I think they're gonna hold on to it. I think you all are gonna win that division. You don't have anybody breathing down your neck that hard. Don't take your foot off the gas for the
No,
of
definitely not.
momentum,
Yeah.
going into the playoffs, and you kind of want to win two of these last three to maybe give yourself some level of a bye week, the final week. Where you don't have to play the starters, and you're not in a position where you have to play a game. It doesn't look like, you all will be. I know it's not playing for. I mean, you all could possibly be playing for a better seed,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
travel purposes.
that's a long shot. I don't think we
Long shot.
we're basically if we continue, we're locked in at the fourth seed
Locked in at the fourth seed.
by virtue of winning the division if we hold
Exactly.
on. And I think that helps us because with the Colts being out of it, well, being in the hunt now as opposed to in the wild card spot, it gives us a better opponent that we could line up playing a better matchup for us if things stay the way they are now. If things
Most
stay the
definitely.
way they are now.
Now let's get into the LA Chargers, who are I don't know which one is which, but I will say this. And we're going to get to them, the number one seed in the NFC, the LA Rams. The Chargers are making themselves look like, that every five. It's like the Chargers and the Rams are the NFL version of the Clippers and the Lakers when the Clippers decide that they want to play some basketball that year. And, the Clippers, and I guess what I'm saying is that they split the fan base. They split the fan base a little bit, but you do have the 49ers, who have a large fan base in LA too, kind of sneaking in there. And we're going to get to them on the NFC side, but the Chargers are definitely looking good in that fifth seed, and of course the Bills in that sixth seed. And I like to bring up the Bills because what do we have? Allen, Herbert, Rodgers, Lawrence, May, and Nix. The statesman, you can't call him a statesman, but as far as AFC is concerned, he's the statesman. The statesman in that is Josh Allen, and with his nemesis being gone, the
Rodgers.
one that keeps him out of that door. This looks like the year for Allen. If you're going to make a move, make a move.
Yeah, because outside of Rodgers, Allen is the only other one who has multiple years, has years of playoff experience. All the other guys, and we're talking if everything stays the way it is now
Everything stays the
in
same.
the AFC.
Don't forget
These
Stroud.
other guys, they don't have any real playoff experience. For them, they'll just be getting their feet wet. So we know what Allen is capable of doing when he puts his cape on. But he's gonna need some help in the playoffs. Because it's him and he's got Cook. No, that's it. And it's crazy because
On both
sometimes,
ends. Right.
yeah, it's crazy because Allen, when he puts his cape on and he does those things, it's like, man, he's doing it all on his own. He can, and
That's what it looks
then, yeah, like he doesn't have any help. But then when they lose and he doesn't, and he looks more like Clark Kent, it's like, well, he doesn't have any help. It's almost a feast of famine when you look at what goes on with them because he comes and has his cape on, but he doesn't have anybody to look to help bail him out outside of Cook. Because if the running game gets shut down, who is he going to give the ball to? Because they've got a bunch of nondescript receivers. So I mean, that's the thing that makes them iffy. But the good thing for them is Mahomes is not there this year. And like we say, if things hold up the way they are, there won't be a Jackson there to help to threaten anything. You got all these youngsters who don't have any real legitimate playoff experience. Then you got Rodgers, who because of his plethora of playoff experience helps to make the Steelers dangerous. So it's going to be interesting if those two wind up meeting somehow. If the Steelers are able to get things done and they run into the Bills. I don't want them to run into the Bills in the first round, though. I don't. I prefer them play someone else who doesn't have that kind of experience.
Now,
Maybe Jacksonville.
I'm going to tell you something. Funny you talking about run into. I don't think anyone on this list wants to run into those Texans who have the 7th seed.
Yeah.
That's that
defense, yeah.
That's a strong 7th seed. And at the beginning of the year, it looked like they might not even be in this position, but they have rallied those troops. That defense. Man, I'm here to tell you. Shout out to Derek Stingley Jr. and Patrick Surtain. Those second generation boys anchoring their defense is that's something special.
They're both young and hungry.
Both young and hungry.
And the Texans, like we said last week, they are showing, and they are one of those teams with that kind of defense. They have the opportunity to beat anybody because if you can't score, you can't win.
Right.
And they are very hard to score on. So, I mean, they might wind up looking like a similar version of a newer version of the Baltimore Ravens. Because their defense is overpowering, their offense just has to be average.
Give me 17.
Yeah, give me 17, and we can make something happen.
And we can make something happen, right? And to round everything off with the AFC playoff picture, we do have the Colts on the bubble at 8, and again the Baltimore Ravens at 9. Now we're gonna move along to the NFC playoff picture. And as I stated before, I think I'm saying this because it's favorable, because I really don't know what's going on in the fan base out there. More people might like the Chargers. But right now, because they were the champions before and the Chargers weren't, I'm going to make the LA Rams the Lakers of that fan base because they do have the number 1 seed and they're looking good. Stafford is looking like if he can make it to the Super Bowl and match, look at me cross-referencing sports here, and match his buddy with the Dodgers, he may walk. Yeah, he may tip his hat and go out with a bang if he can get his Super Bowl and win.
I think that he's having so much fun playing with Sean McVay, and having been getting beat down so long with Detroit. I think he's enjoying it too much because you look at Stafford, you don't see a drop in his play at all. I mean, he hasn't lost any of that elite arm strength. He's reading defenses very well. He's getting them out. He's audibling the right way. He's got a connection he's got a young, hungry, top 10 wide receiver in Puka Nacua.
Boy.
He's made Devontae Adams the red zone specialist because, he leads the league in touchdown catches. Kyren Williams is a hungry young runner who he's making noise. He scores. He moves the chain, but you don't think about him. You don't hear about him, but he's a spark plug back there.
Well,
I mean, yeah, and that defense. I mean, he's got no reason. Yeah, he's got no reason to say, okay, I'm done playing. Because it's like you leaving. It's like, man, you leaving all this on the table. I think for him to leave, they will have to leave, or he would have to really feel like, hey, I don't believe this team is going to be good. This team's built to win some games next year also, in the next couple of years.
I can totally agree with that. Before we get down to the number 2 spot, the Bears hold, I just kind of want to ask you a question. Do you think, I mean, I won't necessarily say, I don't want to use the word regrets, because that might be too strong of a word, but do you think that there are times when Barry Sanders and Megatron look at Stafford and the success he's had since he left Detroit, they say, damn, I should have just gave it a chance?
Yep. They might not ever admit it to anybody else, but if you are a true competitor and you look at what you didn't ever win it, and you see what's going on with other people, and you, man, I wish I would have done such and such different. Because just like people ask Jim Kelly about, the Super Bowl, Jim Kelly, I know he wakes up in a cold sweat sometimes and says, damn, 4 times in a row. I know Thurman says, I would have been the MVP had we won that Super Bowl. I know Bruce Smith says, I got 200 sacks and no rings. Yeah, they think about it. They might not tell you, but I'm sure when Barry gets around this inner circle, or when Megatron gets around this inner circle, they tell you they got some regret.
Definitely.
It's human nature.
Human nature. The one thing that in ring culture we try not to bring up, because we do, I don't want to take away from a team sport, but there is individual accomplishments that both of them have. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that you name have 5 that tend to get washed under the radar due to the fact that they don't have that hardware, that championship hardware. But now we move on to the 2nd seed in the NFC with the Chicago Bears. Probably more of a surprise than Denver due to the coaching. And, they played some hard-nosed football. They didn't have a hard task against the Cleveland Browns this past weekend. Nevertheless, they made Tupac Shakur look very rookie-ish, very extremely like very humbling experience.
It made him look like what you would expect from a quarterback who was drafted in the 5th round. Regardless if you feel as though he should have been a 5th rounder or should have been earlier. The fact remains he was drafted in the 5th round, and they made him look like a 5th round rookie. And nothing wrong with that. He's a rookie, but that's what they made it look like.
They made him look like a rookie, and I'm growing pains. Sometimes you need to see that level of defense, and then you build from that. So, but definitely those, I won't necessarily say monsters of the midway, but they are definitely looking like some true contenders in the NFC. And then we go along to the number 3 seed, which is the Eagles, who also didn't have a hard task, didn't show that they were on a free fall by losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders have become the NFL's version of a bye week.
Yeah, that's a horrible team.
Man, and I hate that for that franchise, personally.
But, but they've been good and terrible for 20, 22 of the past 25 years.
So you're saying that Randy Watts?
Yeah, they've been good and terrible.
Good and terrible. Good and terrible. And with the 4th seed still hanging on. However, by a thread with a heartbreaking loss to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And to be honest, let's be real, Baker Mayfield is normal. When we didn't have those boys, healthy, being around him, fully functional, fully operational. I don't know if you can really depend on Baker to win you any games.
Yeah, I believe that something's gonna come out by the time when the season ends that he was banged up because that team's been in a free fall the past few weeks. And I believe that it's gonna come out because it generally does that. Hey, this guy wasn't healthy, and it's one of those things where you say, well, nobody's healthy this time of year, or if you're not healthy, why are you playing? And but yeah, I think that's gonna come out. Not making excuses for him, but they've been struggling. They've been struggling, and Carolina is still trying to make some noise.
Carolina's still trying to make some noise. And they got a cornerback out there too, and that J.C. Horn.
Yeah,
I like him too. Shout out to me. Always recognizing those guys on defense. I think my second favorite position in the NFL besides wide receiver is cornerback. I know your first position is running back, but I like wide receivers and cornerbacks. That's my personal thing. So I'm gonna always pay attention to some cornerbacks when they are playing well in the league. Now, also as we go down this NFC playoff hunt and picture, we have the Seattle Seahawks.
that division is tough, boy.
That division is tough. And we might as well just, talk about the 49ers right behind them in the 6th seed, because that is going to be that familiarity. I don't want to meet someone that have to play them for the 3rd time, because that's that mano y mano game. We know you, you know me. Let's just go head up and just play ball. Whatever happens,
49ers, and I know we could get into it a little later, but you're looking at a guy because of you think about all the injuries that the 49ers have had this year. They shouldn't be in contention. They should be written off, and you basically getting a mulligan because of all the injuries that they've had this year to key players. He's got them in the thick of it, and Shanahan, I would say he's one of he's top 5 or fewer as far as
Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year, yeah, because what
Definitely
he's
keep
done,
motivated.
yeah. I mean,
week to week.
Yeah, I mean, Dale putting in work.
You can tell Wednesday through Saturday, it turn on. It definitely turns on. And then rounding out that 7th spot, trending up, always in the hunt every year. Seems like the Green Bay Packers, they just always make some noise. Jordan Love is probably, when you look at it, let me see. Yeah, Jordan Love could arguably be the 2nd best quarterback in this division and into this playoff race. I'm going to go ahead and give Stafford his props, due to the I kind of want to give Caleb his props, but I think he's still young. But Jordan Love can win you a ball game.
Yeah, I think he's underrated and underappreciated right now. He's got to get something done. He's got to have another big playoff moment, because we know he had one a couple of years ago against the Cowboys, but he's got to have another one of those. But think about it, the Packers were in first place before the game started. Because the Bears lost the previous week, and the Bears went from 2. Now you got Green Bay down at 7 now,
and then now they had 2. So
for 1 loss, And that's how tight it is in the conference and in that division. And you didn't mention the Lions because
Well, the Lions
they're just
they
in the
on the
hunt.
bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're on the bubble.
they back on the bubble with the Panthers, and it's hard due to the inconsistency that the Lions have. You just don't know who's going to show up to give Jared Goff the nod over Jordan Love. So it's definitely something that's going on in that division. Now we're gonna move on the Heisman. We're gonna move to college football, and congratulations to Fernando Mendoza, the 2025 season Heisman Trophy winner. But the question is, did they get it right? Quarterback out of Indiana, right?
Yep.
Is he the first? Is he the first
First Cuban.
First Cuban? Jim Plunkett wasn't Heisman, right?
Jim Plunkett.
So that'll be the first Latin. The first Cuban,
Mendoza.
Mendoza. What do you think about that decision to make that quiet Heisman? You know I missed the ceremony, right? I thought it was this week.
Yeah, why it's the pool, and we talked about it last. It was very underwhelming because nobody just jumped out at you like, oh man. And there was no the interesting storyline was Mendoza being in Indiana, who is the losingest college football program in the country. Not losingest, yes, in history. In history, they've got what 3 title conference championships in their history, and they're one of the oldest schools out.
Thank God for basketball.
Exactly, but I would have to say I think they got it right, and I think the type of guy that Mendoza is kind of helps solidify that, or kind of makes it like, that was okay. This is a good, genuine guy. He's all about team, and everything he talked about was about the team and about what his family means to him, and also what this means for the university, for Indiana University. So I mean, he toes the company line, and if you wanted to talk to somebody or tell somebody, hey, I need you to go out there and represent and put on a good image for the Heisman Trophy as far as winning and how you present yourself, it would be Mendoza for how he did that. And what's the name? Pavia, Vanderbilt's quarterback, man, that was classless. That was classless what he posted the next day about after not winning the Heisman. Granted, you did something special at Vanderbilt, because after he leaves, I don't believe you're gonna see much from Vanderbilt for another 4 years. It's gonna take another full cycle.
It had a level of, I don't like to call people name out, but it had a level of Skip Bayless Vanderbilt arrogance about it. Like it seems like that's how the students are.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things where, and he's doing that, and you're like, okay, no, you do have an argument that you could have won the Heisman, but at the same time, like, pipe down, dude. You're Vanderbilt. Shut up. You're Vanderbilt. And yes, you won.
They do that as a university. We're Vanderbilt, not Tennessee.
Yeah, but it's like you don't win in
Like
anything
Gloria.
with consistency. Yeah, you don't win consistently in anything. Maybe lacrosse or maybe badminton, but I can name.
Probably a Brain Bowl.
I think I can name 2, possibly 3 players from Vanderbilt that I can recall being drafted. It's Cutler, Matt Stewart, who played linebacker with the Falcons. This is probably the first and last time you hear Matt Stewart's name brought up, unless he's actually on somebody's broadcast or hosting the show. And there was a wide receiver. I can't remember. I believe his last name was Knox. But Vanderbilt does not put people in the NFL. You go there to get you a degree and get you a nice 6-figure job when you graduate. So, dude, pipe down.
Jay Cutler had that level of. Jay Cutler was like that too. Like
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, and you saw what Jay Cutler ended up being.
Right.
So I thought that was classless. But Mendoza, I mean, I would say you have to say they got it right because Love from Notre Dame, he
Jeremiah Love,
scored
running back. Yeah.
scored a lot of touchdowns, but 1,300 yards. It's not Heisman Trophy
And
worthy.
we've seen what record breaking number of yards can do. You when you're a running back like Ashton Genty, shout out to Travis being Travis. We need those level of numbers.
Yeah,
And
1,300.
probably a CFP berth
Yeah,
could have assisted.
1,300 yards comes out to
Right.
100 yards a game. And before anybody said, man, 100 yards a game was good. When you're talking about Heisman Trophy winners and guys leading the league and leading the country, you're talking about guys that are averaging 140 yards a pop.
140 yards. Most
You're talking
exciting
about,
football. Right.
1,800 yards, 2,000 yards. You're talking like up there. And he just didn't do it. I don't know what he's going to be in the NFL, but I don't. He wasn't deserving of the Heisman. So
Absolutely.
And Ohio State's quarterback, I think there's probably some fatigue from how just Ohio State quarterback.
Ohio fatigue, and I don't necessarily think the well, with a quarterback winning, you could see, especially if they find themselves in a rematch, because you're a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
As we move throughout this CFP playoffs. Now, before we get into that topic, I just want to remind everyone that you are watching the No Jazz Show. Please make sure you follow and subscribe on YouTube at No Jazz Show. Make sure you join us on Facebook, for whom I didn't mention in the beginning, at No Jazz Show. Join our Facebook group and definitely watch us on there. You also can watch us on my page at DUPONT NIVEKZ and the Locker Room, as well as you can see us on Twitter. I mean, you can see us on Twitch. Still haven't found out what a Twitch is. It might be a twitch in my eye because I'm kind of hungry and hadn't eaten. So we definitely gonna be moving throughout this one, and hopefully my stomach won't be heard growling over this microphone. As well as I mentioned Instagram, YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on TikTok at No Jazz Show. Now, moving into our next topic. These are the current. Well, hold on. I want to make sure I'm getting this right.
Yeah.
It is CFP weekend starting December 20th. For those of you who don't know,
19th because they got two games, two games on Friday. Yeah.
Excuse me. And you do spell the word excuse EXC. And I'm kind of showing my bias towards the University of Miami Hurricanes by acting as if the CFP starts on Saturday at 12. My bad. Nevertheless, it does start Friday. And it brings us into our next topic, which is, hold on, doing that. It is CFP weekend, college football playoff weekend. Who do you have as far as any upsets coming up this weekend? Who do you think could I'm gonna tell you something, man. Let me shout out to them boys in Tampa. Florida, man. I can't have you biased, but I know my mother is very proud that her Bulls will be in that 12 seed representing. Wait a minute, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at last year. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bulls aren't in it.
Yeah, the Bulls aren't in it at all. Hold on, I got it wrong. That's what took me off. That what took me to the wrong spot. Here we go. Bulls ain't in it, Mom. I'm sorry. You know,
But you got Tulane.
but you got Tulane versus Ole Miss. Same conference, wrong team.
That should be a shellacking.
You think it's gonna be a shellacking? Everybody that had a week and a half. You think it's gonna be a shellacking?
No disrespect, but it's Tulane. Now, the only thing that could be working
James
in
Madison
Tulane,
and Oregon being a shellacking.
yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that could be working in Tulane's favor is Ole Miss lost their coach, and they're probably in a state of flux because the coaching staff is gone. You know, all of that. That could be, or that could make them circle the wagons and be even more focused. Talent wise, they should be able to run Tulane out of it.
Now,
So I don't see that upset.
Would you consider? I know I would be upset, but would you consider University of Miami beating? I wouldn't be upset if they won. I would be upset if they lost. But would you consider UM beating Texas A&M an upset? I mean, from a seeding standpoint, it could be defined as such, 10-7. But
I don't think it could be. It could be considered a mild upset, but not because it's going to end up being a close game. It could be a mild upset, but I don't foresee it being something like, man, we never saw this coming. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I'm hoping that Miami loses, of course, but
of course,
I think it's going to be a good game.
Now,
but the game I want to see though, because you mentioned it, I want out the up. I don't really see any real upsets but I would like to see this upset. It ain't gonna happen. I would like to see James Madison beat Oregon just for the heck of it, just because hey, everybody's mad that they're there. Nobody thinks they ought to be there. They played and won their way in, but nobody thinks they should be there. I would like to see them win just for the heck of it, because we talked about it 2 shows ago. What from that level of competition can they ever win a national championship? And I say I don't think it's gonna happen, and I don't think it's gonna happen at all. But I would like to see. That's an upset I would like to see just for the headlines and to look on those guys' faces and all of that. And what would be interesting, I know it's not gonna happen, if James Madison were to end up to somehow meet Indiana in the game. Their former coach,
right,
and those players he brought with him from James Madison playing against, that would be interesting, but that's not going to happen. But I would like to see James Madison win just for the heck of it. It ain't gonna happen. What do you tell your team? Being realistic. If you living in the real world, you're the head coach, and your job is to get your team ready to play. And hey, we got a chance win the playoffs. That means we're in this thing to win a national championship. We got to go out here and take care of business. Or do you tell them and get them pumped and ready to play and try your best to have them believe that they can win? Or do you just, hey guys, just enjoy the experience? Everybody stay healthy. Don't nobody get hurt. Play within your limits, and let's see what happens. But going in knowing that you're gonna get tore up by about 50 or 60 points. If you can keep it close to 30, you did good.
I think he was. James Madison was a former president, right, of the United States, right? Yeah. That's pretty much all James Madison's still gonna be known for come Monday morning.
I was waiting on you to say something profound about it. You like, look, I can't dig that deep. Yeah, they
are we shout out to the James Madison fans, who may be watching. My bad, I'm just saying, and I know I just probably created a whole lot of enemies for the game December 20th. Now, since we really don't have any upsets,
by the way, if they could get them to come out of retirement and get some snaps, Charles Haley did play at James Madison, so maybe that will help. Maybe he'll give him the pregame speech. And Charles, He one
Charles
of
gonna
them.
punch somebody, man.
Yeah,
Like
you
that,
know,
that's how he gonna
because Charles one of those people how the old folks said,
Charles Haley.
he don't feel too good, so he might be able to motivate them guys.
I will say this: James Madison does figure out how to pull out an upset. I need whatever, and he gave the speech. I need whatever speech he gave them to transfer over to Frisco for the Sunday team he played for, because we don't college football. But I just want to ask you this: who would be considered the Cinderella of this tournament? I'm gonna say it's Miami.
Okay, a legitimate Cinderella. Because I was gonna say Tulane or James Madison, but you're talking about Cinderella who does have some legitimacy, like they could win something.
Right.
They could
Like
win the game. Yeah.
by virtue of how they got in,
Alabama.
controversial,
Alabama.
but they got the brand, and they meeting Oklahoma first.
But they ain't supposed to be. They done lost 3 games.
Yeah.
They ain't supposed to be there. Alabama is not a dominant team like what we've seen in the past. They're a good team, but they aren't of the same ilk as what they tried it out there to win national championships the past 15, 20 years.
So both of them, both Alabama and James Madison, Tulane, but Texas A&M, I'm not gonna lead them out. Whatever run they make, it's really gonna come down to some solid coaching, because they can match up. Tulane, James Madison, I'm not so sure, but they can match up with people. But you really have to, as a coach, understand what your talent is and find the matches that are advantageous towards you, for you, to win those games. Texas A&M is not a cakewalk by no means. And then, either one of those teams that they move on to the next round, it is not going to be a cakewalk. So you're really going to have to coach. All teams are going to have to coach those boys up. Don't get me right. But you really are going to have to put some focus on those boys to play and moving forward. Has the CFP gone to 16 teams?
No, it's still 12.
Still 12.
I saw someone talking about saying they should go to 16 or 20. I'm like, no, because it's always going to be a complaint on that odd number.
Exactly.
That odd number that didn't make 16, man. But Food Giant Tech, man, they should have got in there, man. But they number 17. No, you can't just start like they need to just go ahead and do like what we said last week about as far as the bowl games and a NIT version of college.
NIT version of college, right? To get the bowl games back into it.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Now, we're going to go back to the NFL, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where I want to begin, but I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to start right here. Because that game Sunday against the Bears, where Shedeur looked like a rookie. Does this open the door back up for Deshaun Watson coming in next year to redeem himself? And what do you think their plans are for the future where the Browns are concerned?
The realist in me wants to say they really don't have a real plan because it's the Browns. It's going to be $50-some million of dead cap space if they get rid of Deshaun, so he'll be back. And do you want to play him just to get something out of him? Or do you want to just see if you can work something out to get him out of there? If you think he's still the best option for you to have a quarterback next season, play Deshaun. Otherwise, but you just spent 2 draft picks on Shedeur and on Dylan Gabriel. Are you going to dive back into the draft pool to try to get a quarterback?
No. No.
Okay. So you got to decide in training camp which one of them you're going with. And whoever you're going with, it needs to be balls to the wall and before training camp, before the draft. Hey, we're going with Dylan, we're going with Shedeur, and we're going to do everything that we can to get them what they need in order to help them be successful. That's what they're going to have to go forward and try to do once they make that decision. Because Deshaun's not going to want to stay there anyway. I think Deshaun needs to go elsewhere and get probably NFL league minimum 1-year deal or 2 years for $30 million and work his way back because he's still only 30, 31 years old. So, but it's freaking Cleveland, man. They show year in and year out that they're clueless.
I look at it like this. This might be a preseason topic that may come back around again after we know what they're going to do. But listen to me as I pose this question. That defensive tackle that they got, is he a defensive tackle or defensive end? I think he's a defensive tackle. Rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You got Myles Garrett. You got Denzel Ward. Still, Jared Judy's still young.
And dumb.
Finnan.
Fannin.
I guess Shedeur having a full off season. I don't want to rule him out. Gabriel having a full off season. I don't want to rule him out. But who gives you the best chance to not waste? Like the record is going to be broken this year by Myles Garrett. The record going to have the same magnitude. And we're talking about a record that have withstood for a while. You know, Michael Strahan, when he broke it, that's been some years ago. It's not like Dickerson's record. Not like Rush for 2000, I should say. But Saquon did have movement. Playoff Super Bowl. So that takes some of the glamour. Not taking anything away from what he's done, but that does take some of the glamour off of it. So you go into next year and you have this and he's probably going to be good for another 2 years. Who gives you the best chance to not waste this talent? Because I do believe that they go defense in the draft and work on their offense.
I think they go O-line.
O-line. Not against that. I think Ward still think Ward needs some help. Maybe even at safety. But you can still get that some late rounds if you go O-line first. Definitely got to protect your quarterback. Definitely, no matter who's in there, you definitely want to protect them. So moving forward, do you see it being Shedeur? Can Shedeur get dealt?
Somebody might say, depending on what they see the rest of this season, somebody might be willing to offer up they got him for a fifth. They might be willing to give up no, I wouldn't give up a 4-4. Unless you think somebody could be willing to give up higher than the fifth if they believe that he can be their quarterback of the future. That's the only way he's going to get dealt. But there's going to be a lot of movement for quarterbacks, and he's not at the top of the line, head of the line for that. I don't think that he's going to get dealt unless they go with Gabriel. Then they could figure it out. Or if they go with Shedeur, they might be able to deal Gabriel. I got to see some more out of Shedeur before I say, hey, give him the keys and let's try to grow with him. Because at the same time, you don't have much invested in either one of them. So you can stumble around like they've been doing for another year or two till you see if someone else is more feasible as your starting quarterback or your franchise quarterback.
Which acts as a great segue into my next question. What QBs will be in new cities next season? Now, there are some needs. I don't think the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't think anybody wants to go there. But there are definitely there's a need, and I think there has been some guys that have played pretty well that will do better in that situation. But what QBs do you see being in new cities next year?
I can see Mac Jones being a starter somewhere after what he did this year with Frisco.
Yeah. Right? I think
he's going to get a shot to be a Sam Darnold. And somebody, of course, the argument is going to be, well, is it him or is it the system he was in? And hey, you just gotta trust and believe that whatever he's learned he's gonna take it with him. Because that's what Sam Darnold did. Sam Darnold took what he learned from Frisco to Minnesota. Now he's taking it to Seattle. I also think that there's a possibility that Tua will be somewhere else.
Yeah, he was my pick.
Yeah, I think Tua will be somewhere else. I also believe there was another thing that be somewhere else. He's a starter. Kyler Murray, I believe he would be somewhere else. They can figure out a way to work out their salary to just go ahead. Are we going to trade him, or we just going to flat out release him and just take the dead cap money? Because quarterbacks who are players in general who were picked in the first round always get another opportunity, just because a coach always feels that I'm the one who can bring that first round ability out of him. And if we get them for a good deal, and I look like a genius, and I get what I need, and we win. Because I think one of them is going to end up in Pittsburgh next year. It might be
I
Tua.
was about to see if you have
Yeah, it might be Tua. Might be Mac Jones. It might be Murray. I would say
Jones.
that it's Jones. Oh yeah, Daniel Jones. I think. Yeah, I think Murray is probably the best. It's probably will probably end up there only because Tomlin has said it a few times, and that's why I was like, well, why would you get Rodgers? But I remember a couple of years ago he said it, and he said it previous, since then that mobility is valued because we hadn't had a quarterback who could move since Ben was in his prime. Everybody else has been a statue better. Russell Wilson couldn't really move anymore. He could move and look like he was going somewhere, but Russell wanted to get away from nobody. Justin Fields didn't wow anybody. Aaron Rodgers is looking a little spry the past couple of weeks, but he's not going to be back, and he's not what you call a running threat. So yeah, I think that if they get Kyler is a legitimate threat to run the ball, but the only knock on him physically is he's 5'2", so there's that. But yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler ended up there or Mac Jones. Mac Jones is going to get a nice check from somebody. I can see Mac Jones. I can see Mac Jones ending up there also.
And but the QBs in the draft, it's kind of weak. They're gonna make it seem like it's something, but it might be a free agency year for QBs. Moving on to new cities. What teams do you think need a new quarterback? I know one.
Pittsburgh. I know you're gonna say Dallas.
Who you gonna replace him with, man? Please.
Yeah, people always say who you gonna replace him with. Hey, if we're willing to get rid of them, that means there's somebody out there who we feel is we're capable of replacing. The Jets need a new quarterback. The Jets need a lot. God, they need a lot. I think Arizona needs a new quarterback because I think it's time for a change of scenery for Kyler. I would tell you who I want to see just because we haven't seen him do anything, and he is this close to being a complete bust and not even being as good of a bust as Achilles Smith is Trey Lance. He's in San Diego. I mean, with the Chargers now. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, we're seeing him just kind of
fizzle
on out. He came in with Jordan Love, didn't he?
He came in with Love. He came in with Trubisky. Yeah. And I think that Trey Lance, apparently he is a real nice guy, doesn't cause any ripples, comes in and does what they ask him to do, and so he's got a mentality that you can use him. You can say, okay, we keep him around and try to develop him because he's not making any ripples, and that can be said two ways: not making any ripples as far as causing any problem with the team, and also not making any ripples, meaning he ain't doing nothing to get on the field. And the Falcons might be in the market.
I was about to say the Falcons might be in the market, and this is not me giving up on Michael Penix Jr., but the Falcons might be in the market for a Band-Aid. And what I mean by that is they got too much talent in a window that they don't want to waste. And taking a chance at Penix getting hurt again and watching the way Cousins kind of moves the offense, they might be looking for somebody younger, Cousins, with a little bit more mobility. because Penix is not leaving that pocket. Like, he gonna stand tall and stay there. So I think they might be looking for a Band-Aid. I think the Bucs might be looking for a Band-Aid. I don't think I think they're seeing, with this new crop of wide receivers that they're gonna bring up. I don't think Egbuka is a Nick Jimba. Man, boy, that was a whole lot of Lion King I just did right there. But I think he's a solid two. Yeah, he's a solid two, but he needs a one to be a solid two. I don't know about that one thing. He started out good because Evans was on the field, but
I
now
think he can. I think he can grow into it. And okay, because let's say Evans retires this year, you got Egbuka, and you
they got a
got
young receiving core.
yeah. Would they or someone else make a trade for? I don't think you have trade. I think they're just gonna let him go. No, for Brandon Ayuk, who just stole money, and if would anyone go after him? I mean,
Go after him,
I think he's a head. I think he's a head case.
right?
But would someone go after him and think that they can make him into a one? He thinks he's a one. I don't. But do you think he can? You think he can be a two playing as a one? Hey, I'm a one. I'm really a two, but I'm playing like I'm playing in the position of a one. So don't expect one productivity out of me. Expect two productivity out of me, even though I'm in the one position.
It's tough because IU, he's one of those that had that season where he was getting those numbers and he was arguing one money, but he really wasn't a one. He really wasn't a one, man. Like I don't know about him.
Yeah.
I see the name, but I got a question. When did Henry Ruggs get out of jail?
He just got moved to a higher security facility for some foolishness in prison where he was.
Yeah, well,
So
there was that.
but he's eligible to be out sometime next year, sometime in 26.
Sometimes
This is when they're expecting him to be out.
right. If he hadn't had any issues, that's something that a project someone could bring along with a.
Ooh, is the NFL gonna be willing to take on something like that?
Man, the NFL can wash anything away.
Because remember, it's not like he was an elite player.
Well, he didn't get an opportunity to be. Well, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was an elite player, and we're bringing you back because he didn't have he's not Plexico before, he's not Plexico in Pittsburgh, and
he's not even Dante Stallworth.
Not Dante Stallworth. He didn't become Dante Stallworth either.
He's not Leonard Little. I'm thinking about guys who were convicted of vehicular homicide, vehicular manslaughter, and came back to play.
I'm just talking about people that even just went to jail and they took on that situation. Because
he's still young.
25, 26?
Yeah, he's still young.
So, and he was drafted as a one. You know what? I'm gonna say this, man. Jalen Hurts gonna have somebody behind him too in the hunt. I think all that noise coming out of Philly have some people like this is gonna end up being my job if I continue along this path.
I think they might get another backup. I think he's safe. I don't think Sirianni is gonna do anything.
But I think they're gonna get I think they're gonna get a backup that is like for instance, Tua is enough of nothing to start him on his road to being, hey, if you want to just be on a team and try for a starting position, but you're not going to get anywhere. Like.
Wait, hold on, wait. Did you say he's enough of?
Yeah, he's enough of nothing. He's enough of nothing.
Let me write that down. I'm gonna have to use that some other time because I ain't never heard that voice.
You never heard enough of nothing?
You are enough of nothing. God.
But you know what I'm saying? Like he can't run his mouth and say, okay, I don't want to put my boy out there. I don't want to put my boy out there. But
God, you are enough of.
Remember when Jameis
Yeah.
left the Bucks?
Yeah.
He was enough
He
of
was
nothing.
enough for nothing. Yeah.
He was enough of
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah. I
where he
got
didn't
it.
have an argument to be asking
Yeah. But
about being a
just to
starter, but he needed to be happy.
for nothing.
Well, if he sat behind Hurts, and boy, wouldn't that be something
Mm.
to have Tua behind Hurts? That would be a psychological.
Man, to see them those two back together again.
That would be a
Yeah.
psychological battle there. Like and Philly, the Eagles are all for some bullshit.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you got me pulled in the national championship game. You came in and won it. What? Oh yeah, man. See, you just being messy. You being
But you see
your
where I put him. You see where I put him.
yeah yeah. But
In messy. They
your inner
messy.
50 is coming out.
They messy.
Your inner 50 is coming out.
You know, my want to see another NFC East team in shambles and going through things is coming out.
What? Quick question for you, because this just really irked me, and I just thought about it. It irked me because I guess I'm a purist. As far as football, I'm a purist. I'm a traditionalist. I can deal with things being changed or whatnot. When you were young, like in grade school, and y'all took the football in the backyard, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to play a full
I know where you
game,
going. Go ahead.
and y'all just threw the ball up and tackled whoever caught it. What did y'all call it?
I'm gonna tell you something.
What did y'all call it?
Shout out to Bijan because I know you didn't mean anything by
Yeah,
it.
exactly. What did y'all
We didn't
call it?
call it. We didn't call it. We didn't call it smear the queer.
Yeah, it depended on where you grew up in the
It's
country.
demographic. We called
Yeah.
it pick 'em up, bust 'em.
Okay, so we called it throw up tackle. No, we called it kill the man with the ball.
Kill the man with the ball. I heard that. Pick 'em up, bust 'em was what we called it.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think that he should have even apologized for saying it because he did not say it with any malice and intent. It wasn't talking, and that's people who never played. Those are the people who complain, people who never played, people who have watched games, and they just, they, I just like to watch. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I like to look at it because he basically was telling you, hey, we used to play smear the queer. Backyard football, we called it smear the queer. You throw it up and you tackle the guy. And I think it should have been left to that because there was nothing that he meant by that. I wouldn't have apologized. I'm sorry. Y'all can tell me what you want. Hey, if I'm gonna lose the sponsorship, I'm gonna lose the sponsorship. But I think in his apology, he should have said, "Hey, where I'm from, when we play this game, when there's not enough of us to have even teams, we throw the ball up in the air, and whoever catches it has everybody after them trying to tackle them. We called it this. In other places, they call it such and such. That's what he should have done if he was gonna say something because
a very rough sport. A very rough sport. And it's where you find all of your athleticism and your juice.
Yeah.
And your toughness because you're definitely trying to see, especially when that ball hit the ground, who was man enough to put his head down there because
right. Because you finna get
head hunters looking for you. When you play that, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. We have enough history going on in social media. I don't think he meant anything by it.
Exactly.
In the moment. I don't think he meant anything by it. So I can't necessarily say, man, in that position, you need to watch what you say. I'm just going to say this. With all of these hypotheticals going on around here, as far as history is concerned, we are in an era where we are paying attention to, on subject but off subject, and we are paying attention to the second stanza of the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
What it really meant. We are looking at theories on where pig skin came from. All this stuff is out there. So, if someone wants to really be dissected, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I don't think by the time you played, did you use smear the queer?
No, we called it kill the man with the ball.
Kill the man with the ball. and here's what I'm saying. We're from an era where we're not thinking about that, right? We're not thinking about that. But when you start really dissecting it, listen to the words "kill the man with the ball." You know, if somebody really want to just be, too deep or too awake, where do you think that came from? Kill the man with the ball. Oh, that must have been when they took the slave head and they would, all that stupid stuff. I mean, pick them up, bust them. I mean, if if you're on the right, if you're on the right end of Las Vegas Strip and Figueroa Street in L.A., what you think they doing when they pick them up? They bust them. So that ain't too politically correct because that sounds like some prostitution or something going on when you pick them up and bust them. Because we had this thing called Busch Gardens in my neighborhood, and the yard man didn't go out there and mow that. Like that grass would grow high, and you wanted that dude to run over there to the sideline because he about to get souffled
Right
over there in the
into the
bushes.
bushes.
And you know what was over in the bushes? Old tires, broken bottles. Like we just grew up in an era where, but when you say words like that, smear the queer, I guess you have to where did that come from? Like,
Yeah. But
it
you
derived.
also
I know he didn't mean anything by it, but
but you also don't hear people, you don't hear that phrase outside of playing
outside
that
of that,
game either. Yeah. You don't walk around you don't walk around saying queer. You just don't use the word. It's not even part of the lexicon for the most part, other than in the alphabet on lexicon. Other than that, you don't even think about it. So I wouldn't have apologized. I would have, if I was going to do, I'd give them a definition of why we called it that, and say in other places, other parts of the country, the same game has different names. I would have given them the names of some of those names.
Well, all that is, man, and I'm not against him saying it at all. I don't think he should apologize either. But it's just we're in that era where
everybody want to be upset about something that don't have nothing to do with them.
They wearing pinks. They wearing pink spackle in November, and they got half jerseys and pink jerseys. There's a different audience watching, and with the NFL having its pulse, because they're moving into, and I'm not going to get on that subject, but they're moving into expanding because flag football is a more global. So I guess the NFL is saying that they have an obligation to, because they have their hand on the pulse of America. Not just being when the fall comes, the economy prospers because of school. The economy begins to prosper because football and basketball is right around the corner. So it picks those things up. So the NFL has a responsibility for all mankind because the sport is just so big and they're trying to go global. Unlike any other sport. So it's too much.
I would like to see a study going. They would take a poll or whatnot amongst people in the alphabet community. Say and I bet you it's probably less than 1%.
But it's always that less than 1% that start all the trouble.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's not even people who are in that demographic who talk about they was offended. It's somebody who
protecting the demographic.
Yeah, it's somebody who not even part of that demographic who be saying I'm offended by it. It's like, why are you offended? Do you fall into that? No, but I just think it's offensive and you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't do that because if I was, I would be offended. Well, you're not, so you shouldn't be. Now go
I'm
and
gonna be
do
totally
something
honest with you. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. And I'm gonna use the word in its manner. You know who the queer was when we was playing Pick 'em Up, Bust 'em, and when you was playing Kill the Man with the Ball? The queer was over
with
there.
The ball?
No, the queer was over there playing double dutch.
Yeah.
With the little girls watching us play. And then you looked over there and you saw him braiding their hair. That's what a queer was. He was over there doing that. You know what I'm saying? And low key, he probably was the fastest one out there. Nothing against him, but that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And to your point, as kids, you might say, You need to get out here and play with us. You know who protected him? Them girls will stop playing Jack. They'll stop playing double dutch and be like, you ain't gonna talk about him. You know, you're not gonna. So those are the 1% that are offended by what Bijan said. And they grew up to be those ones that said. Now, you know, they eventually, you know, they was out there doing all that watching us. They wanted to see the strongest branch and who was out there really playing football and who willing to take their shirt off, score that touchdown dance and go give them the ball. And then we start playing organized sports. And then they started gravitating more towards us. They were sitting in the stands holding up the signs for us or being cheerleaders. You know, they eventually left those childish games alone for more organized team sport. That's where he was.
Yeah.
You know, he never really got smeared.
Yeah, I mean, it's just people getting upset over nothing, and people, it's ridiculous. They, America, you need to lighten up.
Yeah. You need to
lighten up.
You need to lighten up, straight up. Shout out to Too Sweet and Sissy Lawrence. We ain't got nothing against y'all. You know what I'm saying? That man wasn't trying to, you know, say nothing wrong to y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I know this is short. I'm just saying, you know, like
yeah,
they're there.
It wasn't nothing against anybody. This is what we called it as a child when we played it. This is what we called it.
And I'm pretty sure when they played it as a child and said that name, the dude over there that wasn't playing didn't get offended either.
Yeah. Nobody. That's just what we call it. Nobody even thinking about what does that word mean. Hey, it rhymes.
Rhyme with smear.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But anyway, we move into the hour and a half part of the No Jazz Show. We just want to remind everyone you can follow us and subscribe, like, comment, and share on YouTube at NOJASSSSHOW. And also, you can find us on Instagram at The No Jazz Show, on Twitch at No Jazz Show, on Facebook, on our Facebook page, No Jazz Show, and TikTok, No Jazz Show, as well as Twitch and Riverside Live. I didn't give them a shout out to that. And you can find us live on the locker room. You see the links sent to you on my own personal page as well. Now, you said the cities. You said the coach of the year. When is Black Monday?
The day after whoever didn't make it to the playoffs.
The day after whoever.
Yeah.
So we really find that out in 2 weeks, right?
Well, we got 4 weeks because we got 3 games left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 3 weeks.
So
3 weeks.
The E is always the last week where that E is official.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait because somebody might make a run. Somebody like Raheem might make a run. And not end up, you know. Shout out to my boy. I'm just saying, man, like, good win though.
Yeah.
Good win. Good win against the Bucks.
He gonna sit. Boy, it's too late. They can't make the playoffs, but he can try to do a Wayne Fonts. Speaking of didn't make the playoffs, this is a very big story, and I just want to ask you, do you think? And what I mean by this is, like, will it be because he's still there? Is the KC dynasty over? Like, will we see? Do you think we'll see that gap? What was it, like a 7-year gap for Tom Brady? Between 7, 8 years. No, I think it was 10. It was 10 years, I believe.
He played a long time, so it was 10 years.
He played 22.
Was it 10 years between Super Bowls or playoff appearances?
Yeah, between Super Bowls.
In Super Bowls.
Between Super Bowls, yeah.
Kind of a difference.
Yeah, between Super Bowls.
So do you think the KC dynasty as we know it is over?
As we know it, yes. Is it over, period? I don't think so. I think Mahomes will come back next year, play well. Andy Reid has not forgotten how to coach. They're finishing out of the playoffs. They're gonna probably be picking in the top 12. So they're gonna get better. Yeah. They're gonna be able to get draft better talent in each round because they're gonna be up as opposed to picking at the bottom of each round for a decade, basically. So I think this is the guys they got this year have learned. they're gonna come back and be better off next year. Because they won't be rookies, and they're gonna bring in talent drafted higher than they would have been able to draft if they had gone on and made it to the playoffs and made it to the conference championship or Super Bowl again. So now they're able to reload in the midst. So I think this is going to be a 1 year hiatus, and next year they'll be back in because they can also look and see what's in their division. But you build your team to beat those teams in your division, and I think they're going to put themselves in position to do that between free agency and also the draft. I think it's a 1 year hiatus.
I'm gonna tell you something. Go ahead.
Because like I said, they're gonna be able to draft higher in every round now. There's a reason why, and this is historical. This goes back. There's another reason besides the talent itself retiring and getting older that the Steelers weren't able to keep it going in the 80s. Because they spent almost an entire decade drafting in the bottom 4 of each round every year, because they were always either in the Super Bowl or making a deep playoff push. And the further you go in the postseason, the further you down you go as far as drafting. And that adds up year after year after year after year. You aren't able to do that. That's how you end up with a Mark Malone drafted as your quarterback in the first round.
Right.
So yeah, they should bounce back.
I give it. Before I want to make sure I know. Right, here we go. 2017. It's 2025. So this is Mahomes' 9th year going into his 10th. 30 years old, 31 years old. By the season next year. Fairly young. Is still in an area as good as he is, where I'm gonna say 28 to 34, he could still be considered in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I am nowhere near the football mind that Andy Reid is.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe he realizes that Patrick Mahomes is in that stage of his career where he needs a bell cow for real in running back to allow Patrick Mahomes more of what he can do. He needs a bell cow at running back. So I'm not saying they're going to get a running back. I'm just saying that if he gets that guy, becomes the focal point of the offense, young running back, the dynasty starts all over again in another direction behind him. I think he more than likely leaves those little wide receivers alone and goes and gets him a big boy. I think he goes out and says, let me grab me a 6'4", 6'5" juggernaut out here on the outside. Because yes, I like speed, but they brittle and I barely have them. I can't move forward in a division that has the Chargers looking to be better, especially with the coach they have in Harbaugh, and the Denver Broncos looking to sustain what they have. I think they go bigger because both of them got some secondaries out there too. That bringing wood, So you think about that. Of course, Kelsey's replacement is needed, but I don't think you try to find the replacement in the tight end. I think you go on the outside, and I think that he just needs that. Remember how Gronk and Hernandez was the rekindling of that 10-year drought?
Yeah.
Even though they were tight ends,
yeah, but you can use them to do some everything.
They became and we still got Brady back here, man. So I believe he retools his football back into that era. Cause did he not? He coached in that Super Bowl that T.O. was in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, you talking about receivers. One, they never replaced Hill. They've never replaced Tyreek.
He's a little dude.
Yeah, but also remember, every year, those 4 or 5 years they went to the conference championship and lost, it was always Andy Reid needs to get a number one wide receiver. They tried to get around with Fred X and with what's the other dude name? Dude from UCLA. No, Fred X, and it was a bunch of
Fred.
also rans. Yeah.
But also,
Yeah, a
exactly.
bunch of also ran, a bunch of not even twos, a bunch of threes and
They
fours.
had the guy you mentioned. They got into the vehicular homicide situation.
Was Stallworth there?
Dante
Not
Stallworth.
Stallworth. He played with the Patriots. But
I
they,
thought he
Freddie Kitchens.
Freddie Kitchens. Who was with the Eagles when he ran over the dude coming from the club? I thought that was Stallworth.
I think Stallworth was with New England. He might have played with them too, because he bounced around a bit. But if you saw what happened when he got a big, strong, fast receiver in T.O., and all of a sudden that passing game was unstoppable. He hasn't done that yet in Philly. I mean, in Kansas City. I mean, he had Tyreek, but Tyreek was a smaller guy. But as far as going to getting a big one, if they're one dominant receiver away from revitalizing their passing game. Because right now they've got a bunch of guys, and maybe the rest of this season Jalen Royals would get a shot and start, and you can see what he can do, because he's 6 foot with some good speed. So maybe he can, kind of fill a role. But yeah, you're right. I don't think that dynasty is. I don't think that their run is over. I don't think they're one of those used to be's. I think they still, after this year hiatus, they'll be back.
Oh, okay. Stallworth did that when he was in Cleveland.
Cleveland, okay.
That's what it was. I knew his name was in there, but he did it when he did it while he was playing with Cleveland. My bad. But so yeah, so I think you just go find you a big number one. AJ might not be happy in Philadelphia.
Man, AJ better take that money that they offer him again and keep his butt right there, because he's gonna go because he goes somewhere else. He got him a ring, so he might be happy. But he goes somewhere else, and it is the man undoubtedly, and ain't winning no games. Find himself in a Myles Garrett situation, and then he gonna really be proud.
You don't want to be that. Matter of fact, speaking of Myles, our records. I know we discussed it, but I just want to get this right. Would you rather set an all-time record on a winning team, or does your individual effort stand out? And now we're not just talking about Myles. We're just talking about anybody that's ever done it on a losing team. Because I did see today, and like I said, I'm keeping with my promise. Notice I didn't bring them up, and I don't bring them up intentionally.
You mean an all-time record on a losing team?
All-time record on a losing team, or any record, seasonal record, because this could be Dak Prescott's first season where he leads the league in passing yardage. But he's 6-7-1. What is that?
I would rather have a good season and at least be in the playoffs, as opposed to setting an all-time record and we losing and not make the playoffs, because then for the most part it doesn't really matter. I mean, depending on the record, it might have a little more panache, but it's like you said you doing something great didn't equate to wins. So it's almost like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it really make any noise? Right. Yeah, so it's like, as far as with Myles, I mean, for him, if he breaks the record, great. I like to see him break it, because I think he's done too much this season not to get it. And also, I like seeing history made. But if he ends up with, let's say he ends up with 24 and a half sacks, great. But you got 3 wins. It's like it's an empty calorie stat. It's an empty calorie record. When you look back in history, it'll look good when you just look at the number. But if you look at what the team did that year, every 2,000-yard rusher, with the exception of OJ, who was the first to do it, and
I think Eric Dickerson.
No, Dixon went to the playoffs. Everybody else, except for
he carried them. Okay.
Yeah. OJ didn't make it to the playoffs. They went, I think, 9-5, and then Jamal Lewis. They didn't have a winning record or winning season when he hit 2000.
He did 2000 after the 2000 Super Bowl, though, right?
Yeah, they'd already won the Super Bowl. So this is a few years later.
Yeah.
But as far as, but man, you got 2,000 yards. Man, how many? How did y'all make the playoff? No, it's like that's why unless nobody ever brings up Jamal Lewis as a 2,000-yard rusher. He had more yards than Barry. Barry had 2,053, but they
He was
did.
going for the record
Yeah,
and
but
was
they did
going
to
for the
make the
record.
playoffs. Adrian Peterson wound up hit 2,000, coming back off of
He's
a
another one.
torn up knee, but they made the playoffs.
They made the
I mean,
playoffs.
if you don't, it's like you do all of that and don't make the playoffs at least at the bare minimum. Individually, it looks great, but it's like, did it really matter? It didn't contribute to any success for the team. So, so that's why I said with Myles Garrett, with him doing this, is great individually, but it's not knocking it, but it's like, dang, because your team, what they surrounding you with is terrible. This effort is being wasted. Like now you're looking at the Browns to see if he gonna break the record. You're watching for that, and people are still watching because they want to see what Shador does. But they aren't watching the Browns because they're gonna win.
They end up watching him break the record by default because you're watching Shador. I want to say this. I want to bring this up because I heard this was a rumor. I don't know how true it was. But I just want to I just want to point something out. Von Miller wanted to come home to Texas. Myles Garrett from Arlington, Texas. When they were looking to sign him, he was talking about coming home. He was definitely like all for playing in Dallas, and so I don't think he would be chasing the record. I don't know. But he's so disruptive. I think he takes a 6-7 record and transforms it into 10-4 easily with his presence. I think he does that at a far greater magnitude than Michael Parsons ever could even think about. Just me personally, And who would you rather be? Would you rather travel like Von Miller? Because these are the players who if they were on any other team, probably would make noise and sack records.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the J.J. Watts of the NFL. So like Bruce Smith was making all that noise, but he wasn't making noise like the Minister of Defense, Reggie White, when he was in Philadelphia. He was kind of going under the radar. I think even at that time, Dexter Manley was getting some prominence.
He got hardware, yeah.
Yeah. And so I see Myles Garrett with the Cowboys and, that offense being what it is because I think we would have been able to get George anyway. It's a different dynamic. Probably you look at that and you say, I don't need Williams. There's nothing against Quentin Williams. You probably look at that and say, I don't need Williams, so I don't think that occurs. Nevertheless, it's like you want to see Myles Garrett on a 6-7-1 team because of that stage.
Yeah.
Because of what he's doing. You don't want to see him in that market in Cleveland. So he deserves far more than he's being allowed as far as this record is concerned. Because we're the Jets. Going to the playoffs. They were winning in when Mark Gastineau broke the record. And I believe Strahan was winning too. Yeah. They made the playoffs. Yeah, so I really do I really don't know, man, about that. But nevertheless, moving right along as we go into this final countdown. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. My football, and I'm gonna do one on the back office. I'm gonna do one in the back office because we like to do it week to week, and I might post it. But I don't have a twin, man. I was so heartbroken. I'm supposed to be a little bit more professional than that.
Hey, man, it happens.
I was so heartbroken, man. I didn't even. I started seeing what OKC was gonna do at 24-1. And shout out to the San Antonio Spurs who played a heck of a game. And OKC is still that deal as we move to the NBA a little bit. But shout out to Wemby and crew who really made it happen and beat OKC and gave them another loss for this season. But nevertheless, man, I tell you, like I said, I switched it over to basketball. And I
so heartbroken. He didn't only change the channel, he changed the sport.
I changed sport. I changed the sport, man. But do you have a twin for this week?
Actually, I don't.
Okay, good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna skip this week's impact notable because nothing was notable for me. And I guess that brings us to our final segment. But before we go, I just want to make sure you all read the bottom of that screen. And I thank you all for joining us. And I thank you all for showing up tonight at this 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. hour on the East Coast. And what would be a p.m. for you? 7 p.m. to what? I'm about to do me some West Coast shows, man. I'm about to come out there to my house so I can end the show and still have some time. I'm here to tell you, man, because it's cold outside, boy. And I know y'all weather decent too.
Yeah, it's been between 68 and 70 last week, this week, and next week.
I know some people. Let me tell you something though. What's crazy about that? I know some people in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets 68, they'll put on a leather coat.
Yeah, they do it out here too.
Boy, I'm telling you.
75, they like, man, this kind of chilly. I just put my head down.
Hey, it's 75 degrees, 68 to 75 degrees. You hear the music. You hear the shaft music. I'm like, dude, you seriously got on a leather trench in 75 degrees, man. Come on now, man. But at any rate, man, you got any final words for the people?
Gotta do it. I'm sorry. I just gotta.
Talk to him, Tank. Talk to him.
And I'm gonna make it brief. It's a damn shame when the person who is supposed to be the leader of a country can't come and decides to speak on the tragedy that happened and changes the narrative to disparaging remarks about the person who's murdered, and then puts all the focus on himself. And if you support this orange piece of wasted DNA,
I need to put a caption under that, man.
I don't know what to say.
Not the opinions of, not that I support, but
I mean, I'm sorry. I think you're a terrible person. So what I'm going to say is this: thoughts and prayers to Rob Reiner and his wife and their family going through this hard time.
Right.
And may he rest in peace. And if you aren't familiar with Rob Reiner, go back and watch Archie Bunker when he was playing Mike the Meathead. The stuff that he said, the stuff that went on that show couldn't air today because people are so sensitive, just like they were about Smear the Queer. And now, as far as you look at the movies that he produced, if there's two movies that he made that for me that I like most, it would be Stand By Me and A Few Good Men. I think A Few Good Men is in my top 5 of all-time movies. But so rest in peace to Rob Reiner. He left a lot of classics and a lot of important work out there that he did in the movie industry, and also as far as his political views and his championing for people to treat people respectfully and properly. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Otherwise, I could go on another 15, 20 minutes about that orange piece of shit, but I'm not.
The funny thing about that is, and those are some profound words. I totally shout out and rest in peace to Rob Reiner, Meathead. That's who and I'm pretty sure anyone in my age group, first became to know him as. He and Michael were definitely the first opportunity that I had to witness the defenders of liberal politics. Because Archie was super duper conservative, and Edith was gonna protect her husband at all costs, wrong or right. Yeah, but they definitely like if you watch that interaction, and in the old regime, Speaking on the new regime, it was definitely educational to watch them go back and forth, and especially with that black and white. George Jefferson came around, and George himself was like super conservative, but he was old school black
Yeah.
conservative with it, because he even had some issues with a lot of things that Mike and me had was saying. But it was just like one of those things. But so if you ever do get a chance to watch some All in the Family reruns, check that out, because Rob Reiner was definitely a classic individual. Shout out to Norman Lear also for allowing that level of dialogue to even exist in all of his shows. So if you want to check out Norman Lear shows in that era, because they're very educational, and it probably won't make you as sensitive as you are
Right.
today. Now for my last words, man, I'm just gonna say this, man. I probably said this last week, but it's still going on, because this joker done did it again. In the words of, probably it was more than likely Keenan Ivory and Damon who said it. You don't go back and forth with clowns. We play them on TV. Marlon, and I'm not saying you're scared. Leave that 50 Cent mess alone. Leave that dude alone. And cause I don't necessarily want to say he ain't worth it, but that's his thing. That's his MO. And now he going off on Mano and the boys. Them boys trying to do their little podcast. Now he talking about like he just be going grabbing people. If you hot, he coming to get you. And we gotta understand this man, nothing against 50. I like 50, even the mixtape 50, even the new 50, all that stuff. Shows. But he came up on that how to rob, and
Literally.
and even though that metaphor was jacking you and robbing you the criminal way, he was really like robbing you of your forefront. He was robbing you of your showcase. He was robbing you of your piece. And he's still at it. He's still telling you how to rob, and you all are still rolling your window down, falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Don't let this man get you. It is a trip, man. Y'all can't, I just don't understand, Marlon. All due respect, you knew Tupac. You knew Tupac well enough to know that this might be some 50. As much as he want to be in that area, you knew Tupac and saw Tupac to know even 50 Cent might be somebody Tupac might not want to fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about because he's scared of him, because of his character, And a lot of people and stop misinterpreting the context of what people are saying. There is a code. There is a code that a lot of people in my generation live by. And I don't think Marlon was wrong. I don't think Cedric the Entertainer is wrong by saying we just leave that man alone and allow them to be in debt in peace, pay their bills in peace, pay their debt to society in peace. Because as a black man, we just don't believe in kicking a man while he down. Some of us just aren't with it. Even if you're going to take that out of context just to say, well, he should be getting this information out for the victims and everything. I ain't no hero to us. We just don't do that. Let somebody else, and we know who that somebody else is. Let somebody else, hold that knife to be the journalist stabbing another fellow black man in the back, regardless of what he did. Because the other people, why we don't hear about the Diddies and the foreclosures in white society? They keep it to themselves. They keep it internal. When they get checked, we know what you're doing. But unlike my own people, we are not the purveyors of that type of stuff. And in my own words, we got to stop being enough of nothing. And then my final words. Now, this has been the world-renowned, globally known, often imitated, never duplicated, No Jazz Show. Please make sure you follow us on Instagram at the No Jazz Show. Make sure you go follow us and subscribe to us at No Jazz Show on YouTube. Do the same on Twitch. Do the same on Twitter. Do the same on TikTok. Also, do the same on our Facebook page. Like, comment, subscribe, and share your thoughts. And on that note, as I always say, Tank, give these people.
See you next week.
All right, we stopped.
It's still recording.
I stopped it. Oh, Lord. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at noj.a.s.s. Follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.